And my dad's been a business owner for quite a few years now, owns several businesses in Cochise County, and after talking to him, I'm just like, man, I want to do something for myself, I want to work for myself, and I don't even care if I go broke doing it. I want to do it, at least once in my life. Life is short, and started getting some pointers from him on what to do and everything, and I started thinking, we've built a clientele with this barbecue deal here in the valley, and it's obviously people like what we do, they like our barbecue and everything. And talking to Peeler, I was telling him one night, I'm like, man, I'm going to make a move towards this. I don't know where, I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know where this restaurant's going to be, but I'm going to open a barbecue restaurant. I'm going to sink my life savings into it if I have to, and that's what I'm going to do. And I said, do you want on board? And he said, absolutely. I said, all right, let's do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so we started praying on it real heavy and everything, asking God for a sign, to give us the right place to start this and everything, and looked all over town, and just, when I told Pillar that, I told him, by July, I'll be out of this mine. I'm not going to be working in this mine anymore. And this was in January, of last year.
Yeah.
I told him this January of last year, and I told him by July, I don't know how, but I'm going to be out of that mine. I ain't going to be working out there anymore. I'm going to be working for myself. And I just threw that out there, And so we started looking for a place and everything. Of course, there's no, good highway frontage property here in town for sale, or if there is, it's crazy priced, and it's just vacant lot, that you'd have to build something new. And that's hard to do for a startup,
Mm-hmm.
And so we start looking over at the shopping center where Jack in the Box is.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of empty buildings over there, and so I got in contact with the rental agency that all works through, and talked to them, and was interested in looking at one of their spaces, for possibly setting some up in there. And when I got in contact with the lady, I told her, I'm curious at looking at a few of your storefronts here, that you have for lease. And she said, well, they're not mine. I'm just the rental agent on it, but I can show them to you, but can I ask what you plan on doing? And so I told her, I'm going to start a barbecue restaurant,
Yeah.
I'm going to start a brick and mortar. And she's like, have you ever started a restaurant before? I said, no, I haven't. And she said, well, and she was really negative about it, and just went off on it. And, finally to the point where I just was like, you know what? My dad's a business owner in Cochise County.